As we've noted before on the show, even though the 250,000 confidential State Department cables leaked last year by WikiLeaks have long been public, they are still officially confidential. Last spring, the American Civil Liberties Union filed under the Freedom of Information Act for copies of cables dealing with such issues as Guantanamo, rendition, and torture. And the State Department responded by offering redacted documents as if the truth were not, as it were, already out there. It's a charade that the ACLU decided to highlight by making a little mischief. Ben Weisner is the litigation director for the ACLU's National Secrecy Project.
The idea was to force the government to go through the declassification process and to see which of many uncomfortable responses they would come up with. Would they release the documents in full in accordance with common sense? Would they withhold them in full and look silly? Would they redact them and essentially give us a roadmap to what they think is important and sensitive information and what is not? Remarkably, they chose the third option.
The most revealing one.
In a sense, it is. That's right. 12 of the documents, they said, had to be withheld in full. 11, they gave us redacted versions. And so we have a unique window into the government's classification process.
And just for people who haven't seen a redacted document, that's where chunks of it are blacked out. You can't see through it. Looks a little like Swiss cheese.
Well, that's right. And what we've done at ACLU.org is put up the redacted documents, but when your cursor hovers over the redacted portion, the text magically appears. And so we get to see what the government would prefer that the world not know. So in a discussion with foreign governments, you might see unredacted all of the subjects of agreement, and then the censor's pen will come out when that government is criticizing U.S. policy on rendition, on torture, on Guantanamo, or the like.
So what you've got is essentially a teachable moment, and you give people who visit your site an opportunity to experience the childhood joys of invisible ink.
Well, it's that, and it's a little bit more. So although there is something cheeky about asking for something that we already have, we're hoping to illuminate what is a serious issue in the way that the government abuses its secrecy privilege. The whole secrecy regime is really predicated on the asserted distinction between what is universally known and what's officially acknowledged. The fact that the whole world has access to these documents means nothing to the government and means nothing to a court until the moment that the government acknowledges them. So that the government can, for example, off the record, brag to reporters about the wonderful successes of their targeted killing drone strike program. But when we file a request under FOIA to get documents about that, they can refuse to confirm or deny the existence of that program. When we file a lawsuit seeking to set legal limits on that program, they can invoke the state secrets privilege over information that is known but not confirmed. And so the idea here is not just to have these documents, but to be able to use them. And by putting the government through the exercise of declassification, our hope was to move this from being known to being acknowledged.
Ben, thank you very much.
Brooke, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Ben Weisner is the litigation director of the ACLU's National Security Project. We'll feature some before and after shots of those documents on our website on themedia.org, and we'll also offer links to the ACLU's project.